Some days before you get started working, you just really have to clean up your workspace. That's the way it is today. So before we get started, I'm going to do that and then I'll come back. Yes, now this is much better. I put all of my shapes into one bowl. I've cleaned and oiled my clamps. I have other clamps, but they're being used right now. Got a stack of rags here. The birds are overhead, bowl of water, and a selection of fabrics that have been wetting out. Isn't that lovely? Listen to that. They're talking to me out here. And it's windy. That's what I love about working outside. You really are in touch with the outdoors and what's going on instead of inside of a building. So just let that play the bird song for a few more minutes. So to start off with today, I have a few pieces that are already in the works, and I have a bowl full of cloth here that I've added to this morning, mostly linens that I've collected along the way. This is an old linen tablecloth that's been cut up, and this will dye really nicely, but it's pretty hard linen, so it needs a good wetting out. So there's parts of it that have lots of pattern woven into the cloth. And again, this is some linen that I actually think Jude gave me this linen, which has been quite some time ago now. So I went away for a minute to check that cloth, and it's actually, it says P horseshoe is the pattern. The color says 1537. Fiber content is 70% cotton, 30% linen, and it says railroaded. So, and unfinished. And there's the sample tag. I don't think I've spent enough time talking about the kinds of cloth that I like to use for the moons. I like to use a variety of cloth because they all have their unique qualities, and some things dye certain ways that are appropriate for certain things, and other cloths dye different ways and darker or lighter. Just to point out, I was doing these the other day, and I don't like them really at all because it's not 100% natural fiber. I can just tell by the way it dyes. It has a poly mixed with perhaps cotton, and it will only get so dark. But I'm going to do something with these. It's just not my favorite cloth. I like it though because of the weight. It's very lightweight, which is fun to dye with. But different cloths, different thicknesses, different fiber content, different weaves, it all matters. I know it's kind of windy today, but you'll just have to bear with the background noise. What I wanted to just point out to you is a lot of times I just like to tinker. So today I was cleaning off a table and I found this pleated silk. It's actually Japanese roe, which is that summer weight silk that has a gap in the weave in the cloth to let air pass through. And I just thought, well, what if I just did a moon on this piece? So I'm going to try it. That's really what I love to do the best, is just experiment and find new things. I've got this one all clamped up, and as a point of interest, usually this would all be wet before I would even apply the pieces, but I want to preserve the pleats in this, so I'm doing it dry and just seeing how much I can preserve. Here's the piece after one dip, and I can already see that there's some issues. First off, I accidentally clamped a bit of this fabric underneath this one clamp on the bottom side, and I can see it leaking through in a couple areas, even though I have 4 clamps on a relatively small shape. So the reason that this is happening as far as the leakage around the side is this is a very, very thin silk with lots of holes in it. So that's one of the reasons I put 4 clamps. Normally I wouldn't. Anyway, just thought you might be interested in that. This railroad cloth dyes really dark. This was just 3 dips. So now I'll decide what I'm going to do next. These are the little linen moons. This was just a scrap piece that I'm working on. So there it is, Moonmates. I hope you're going to have a great weekend. And it's going to be hot here. It was in the low 90s today, so, and windy. Here's the pleated moon that I was playing with yesterday, and I rather like how it turned out. Here's that little spot that was stuck underneath the clamp. I like this side better. It's my favorite side. Here's the other side. So what I imagine I would do with something like this is I would stabilize it onto another piece of cloth and do some stitching. It's kind of fun. For those who aren't familiar with Jude at Spirit Cloth, when I say Jude's glue stitch, this is just a method that she uses to adhere pieces together when she's collage working. But what it is basically is you're taking the tiniest stitches almost in the same place, just maybe a few threads over in the weave of the cloth, and taking a larger stitch on the back. So basically it becomes an invisible stitch on the front side, and on the back side it's a larger stitch. So you can see on the back side. Now it's a lot more stable, so I can move it around a little bit more and pick it up.